Yo, what's good people? Today we're going to be reviewing the golden Fanta from Arcade Stick Indonesia. So I have it here. Super sick, super sick. I mean, I've always liked ASI products. Really clean. For me, the ASI products are just, they have a certain level of smoothness that you can't really get from other levers. For me, it's mainly the ball bearings that add that kind of smoothness and just fluidity, I think. And of course, I love the Delrin, the machine Delrin parts. It just has a signature kind of look, doesn't it? And it's, you know, personal preference, I suppose, but I think they look really good. Of course, we've got the full color. They also do offer other colors and stuff. I feel like the ASI ecosystem is really good and you will find a setup for you. That's what I like about arcade sticks. And I always say this about arcade sticks and when I review them, is that you will be able to find a setup for you that works because there's so many parts and there's so many interchangeable parts. It's really interesting how many setups you can actually find. I also do have a black Fanta, as you can see here. Now, I prefer the black Fanta because these parts, so I have a, you can't see it here, but it's a low Squircle guide, and then obviously we've got the black Delrin machine body. Let's just try and focus it. Here we are. So yeah, the quality is insane. What the black parts do is they compress tension. So we have the black body here, we have the black collar, and also inside it I have a black core, which is the kind of the circle thing that goes inside the rubber grommet. So I prefer to use the black parts, and I'll show you why when I review the black golden Fanta. We're going to just review the white golden Fanta now, stock. When I'm playing with it, it will have all stock parts. So right now it has a black Delrin ball bearing, and obviously it comes with all golden parts. So when I'm playing with it, it will be golden, of course. And later on in the video, I will be assembling the golden Fanta so you can see what's in the Fanta step by step and how to build it, also how to customize it, because if you want to take it apart you might feel like, oh, I don't know what parts are off or what, I don't know how to assemble something. So we're going to do a full assembly of the golden Fanta, the white golden Fanta. We're going to look at tech specs, we're going to do a play test, sound test, all that stuff that I usually do in reviews. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Liking will help with the algorithm, commenting will also help with the algorithm, and subscribing will let me know that you enjoyed the content. Let's get into it. Now I'm going to put together the golden Fanta. So it's completely disassembled. You can see the grommet is actually, I don't know what tension this is. This is kind of a secret. It's special because you can only actually get this in the golden Fanta. So if you want this yellow tension, you can't actually buy this separately. You have to get the whole thing. I actually prefer to use it in the black Fanta build. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But what the black Fanta does is it compresses stuff. So I'm going to take the tension out. So compare the two bodies. So the black Fanta has these kind of like nibs, and this creates additional tension. It's just a whole different design, honestly. It looks similar, but it's very different. And also the black collars, like this for example, they also put more tension on the grommet. So I think the black Fanta build with the yellow tension is great, and I actually use that for my personal setup. I actually use an oversized core as well, but we're going to get onto the black Fanta a little bit later on in the video. So let's actually build this lever. So okay, so now the bottom side is actually done. So we can flip it over, put the full collar. So you will need a 35mm hole in your fight stick. So, you know, Korean fight sticks already kind of accommodate these. So there is actually a way to fasten these, and I'm not seeing anything online, but essentially you need to make sure that these holes, so you have 4 holes. I believe this is the Korean mounting layout. So anyway, you have to kind of line these up with the notches on the side of the body. So you can see these kind of notches here. So it kind of goes in a little bit. So line these notches up with these 4 corners here. So you're gonna see what I mean. So you're gonna see what I mean now. So you see how these four corners can kind of like line up. So here you can see the light's hitting it a little bit. So make sure that these corners line up with this notch here. So this is the correct way to fasten the bracket to the body. Just make sure. Okay, so now the mounting plate has been fastened. So now all we need to do is just the rest of the stuff really. So this is the bushing, this is the spring, this is the ball bearing, so the golden ball bearing. Everything that comes with the golden Fanta is golden. Now I do have a huge bag of parts from ASI with loads of stuff in it. And I have a lot of Delrin parts. I just prefer the Delrin, mainly just because it doesn't require any maintenance, to be honest. Okay, so let's put the shaft and bat top in. As you can see, now we've got the shaft and bat top in, like this. Put the spring in first, so it sits. Now the bushing sits here. Then the ball bearing, 16 millimeters. I'm gonna read the specs in a little while, but you need to kind of put a little bit of force and just make sure that the switches don't interfere with the kind of way you're pushing down. So just push down, and then we have the ring, very, very tiny ring. Put that here as well. And then finally we have the E-clip, which can be quite annoying to put on actually, but you just have to push with enough force just to kind of slot it in, and then we're gonna use some pliers. Easy. To snap it on. So here we are. And what I will say, like from the bat, from using this, is all of ASI's kind of levers, they're very, very smooth just because of the ball bearings. I really enjoy using these, although I don't use the metal parts, I use the Delrin. Now when we're talking about the body is machined Delrin, so it's very, very sturdy, very high quality, no imperfections. That's what I really like about ASI stuff, is that you can just tell by the finish, it's just really clean. And same with the bat tops. I'm gonna actually show you some bat tops from that bag over there as well. So this is the golden Fanta. Now we've assembled it, as you can see, pretty clean. Okay, let's talk about the black Fanta for a little bit, because this is actually my favorite. This is what I actually use in my Itoki. So I took the yellow grommet out of it, put it in here. I have the Squircle, the black low Squircle guide, and you can see because it says SQC here. Yeah, you can see it now because the light's hitting it, but it says SQC, so that's Squircle. It just feels way more snappy, and I don't know how to describe it. You're gonna just have to, if you ever get a chance to feel both of them side by side, and it makes it easier to tell the difference between what's what, because I have the white golden Fanta and I have the black golden Fanta, but I just prefer the kind of oversized parts and the additional tension with a low tension grommet, if that makes sense. So a low tension grommet, but this is adding the tension back, and it feels so clean. I don't know how to describe it. It's just one of those things where you kind of just have to try it. We're gonna look at some parts. I'm gonna show you what I use in the black Fanta actually. So we have the bean top, which is personally my current favorite at the moment. Then we have just a large black golden rim bat top, and I have finesse engraved, as you can see here, because I sometimes go by SOCD finesse. That's what I sometimes put my Tekken name as, so I just thought it would be funny to get, you know, something engraved with finesse. And you know, I like the word finesse anyway, so why not? The finish on these is ridiculous. Like, it's just the finish for me. Like, look at the finish. I don't know how well this is translating over camera, but the finish in person is crazy. Like, super high quality bat tops. And I do have a white one somewhere. I do indeed. I also have a wooden one coming as well. I have a wooden bat top coming with a gold rim. So imagine this wooden with a gold rim, and then I also have a black bat top with 2 gold rims, so very, very rare. but I've not got them yet. I'm gonna collect them in about a week. So here's the white one, same thing, finish is excellent. Again, I'm not sure how well this is translating over the camera, but yeah, the finish is really, really clean. So overall, I think these 4 Batops are insane. We're gonna look at tech specs now. So this is Arcade Indonesia's shop website. You have to go to Golden Lever. Now it's not a Golden Lever, it's a Golden Fanta. Golden Lever is more customizable in terms of you can change the switch spacing, but the Golden Fanta's built slightly differently, so you get a different feel with the Golden Fanta. Personally, I prefer the Golden Fanta over the Golden Lever. So you have to scroll down. So this is the Golden Lever. We don't want this, we want the Golden Fanta. They have 2 versions, the full color and the short color version. And to see the specs of both of them, we just have to scroll down and click Fantastic Manual. It's gonna take us to this page. Now I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can actually see what the specs are. So we have the full color setup. The specs are here. So we have a 7mm shaft, and this is the golden aluminium shaft. This is not brass, so that's something to keep in mind. I know some people had issues with brass and kind of deterioration of materials. The golden aluminium is very sturdy, but it's very light and it doesn't deteriorate. So that's one thing that I do like about the new materials and the usage of different materials. So we have a circle color, obviously the full circle color. As said before, you can get different colors. They're all interchangeable. And that's what I like about the ASI ecosystem, is that, let's say for example, you wanted a squircle guide or a square guide, because a squircle guide is more rounded. It's square, but it's more rounded than just a square guide. We have a white core, which is, you'll see in the B-roll, it's what is in the rubber grommet. So we have a normal size white core. It's not oversized. We have a normal spring. You can also get a little bit more of a stiffer spring as well. Tension is the yellow silicone. Now, what's interesting about this is specific to the Golden Fanta. You can't actually get this without purchasing a Golden Fanta. So as you can see, it's here. Yellow silicone. You are also going to see it in B-roll and stuff like that, but this is the yellow silicone, and you can't get this without purchasing a Golden Fanta. Now, I don't know exactly what the rating is because it's not disclosed, but it is very light. That's the thing that I will say, and that's the reason why it's light, is the reason why I use the black parts, because it compresses that light tension, and I feel like the light tension with the compression is a really, really nice combination. So I actually mix and matched parts from the Golden Fanta and with black parts, and I found a really, really clean setup. So I will show you that, but that's going to be in the black Fanta video, so definitely stay tuned for that. Now we have the white Fanta base, 14.5 gold bushing. The bushing is the part that attaches to the bearing. So you have to have, you can't just put a golden bearing in, or you can't just put a Delrin bearing in. You have to have a bushing as well. So that comes as kind of a combination, and then the ring on top. The ring size doesn't, I think the ring size is pretty consistent anyway. It doesn't really matter. It just kind of allows the spring to be fully compressed, if that makes sense. So you do need to use a bushing to use a bearing. So the actuator is just the golden bearing. Now the switch spacing is 16.5 on the white build and the black build, so both of them have the same switch spacing. Personally, for me, I didn't feel like the throw was huge. I feel like the Fujin V3 is like massive, and so yeah, the throw is big, but the Fujin V3 just takes the cake. The Fujin V3 throw is insanely big. I didn't feel like it was as big as the Fujin V3, but it's definitely big throw wise. Sensitivity was perfect for me, so in terms of like the spacing, the bearing that's inside it, so it's not exactly a 1-to-1 ratio, but I actually prefer that. I don't like it to be too sensitive because I'm pretty light with my hands anyway in terms of when I'm using levers. I'm not heavy-handed. You can just experiment. If you have a 1-to-1 ratio but you change the switch, that's going to change the feeling of the lever itself. So this is what I like about ASI, because they have so many parts. It's really interesting what you can come up with. So as said here, this is what it comes with. It even tells you the size of the screw, so if you know you need to replace them in the future, you can do so. Also tells you the screw size for the switches on the bottom. So yeah, this is the Golden Fanta specs. We're gonna get into the sound test. Okay, so now we're in game, and to be honest, I really like the full color. It just kind of sits nicely here. This lever is very easy to find diagonals because the tension inside it is an X tension, and that means the diagonals are slightly easier to find. So yeah, the diagonals are very easy to find. I'm going to pick a character that needs a clean diagonal to show you, like Hwoarang, for example, with JFSR. We're going to test what the consistency is like with JFSR on both sides. So there's a real representation of the diagonals, because right now you can't really tell, because electrics don't really require a clean diagonal unless it's a perfect electric with neutral. Yeah, you can't really get a feel for how the diagonals perform, but I can just say, like, this lever is very easy to pick up and play. Now on the website it says that the throw is extra long, and to be honest, I don't think the throw is like huge. As said before, I think the Fujin is bigger, or feels bigger, because that's the thing, they can feel bigger, but this one doesn't feel huge at all. It feels very comfortable, and I actually hate big throws on levers, so for me, very comfortable to play on. What I really like about the ASI levers and just ASI in general is the ecosystem works really well together. So even if you don't like something stock, you can just change it. But the fact that they have such a large selection of products and parts and materials is really something that I really love about ASI. The Korean backdash is really smooth, actually. Korean backdash is crazy. And the long throw helps with that. But I don't feel like the throw is like huge. So consistent. Look at the inputs. Super consistent. And it's the fact that I'm not even using a square guide to kind of aid my diagonals. It's a full circle guide, so there's no help for diagonals here. It's purely, I think the grommet technology inside is kind of crazy. Such clean inputs. So overall, I think despite what the description says about the lever, this lever to me feels very beginner friendly just because the diagonals are really easy to access. Now, the thing is with ASI is that if you don't like something on the lever, if you don't like the bat up, if you don't like the collar, you can just change it. The ecosystem is very big and everything is compatible, which is what I like about Arcade Stick Indonesia parts. So I feel like the full color golden Fanta is really a very smooth and fluid lever just because of, you know, it's a circle collar, but also the ball bearings inside isn't something I've seen from any other manufacturer. So this is very unique and I feel like it just gives a very unique fluid experience, not to mention the grommet inside with their kind of X tension technology. I don't know how they're doing it, but they are promoting easier diagonals with more stiff cardinal directions. So as you can imagine, if the diagonals are less stiff than the cardinal directions, that's going to promote easier diagonals, for example. Yeah, I think the parts and the ecosystem is very easy to jump into. This lever is very easy to jump into just because it feels so smooth and the diagonals are very easy to access. So for me, top end lever I can fully recommend. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.